Okay, welcome to the first Movement Masterclass video series. This month we're looking at the deadlift because that's what you guys have voted for. But for the Strength Club champions, I'm going to be breaking this down into 6 parts of the deadlift that I think are essential for you to learn. And I'm also going to give you some troubleshooting tips and a few bits and pieces that you can use to help you to learn and to master each part of the movement so that you can grow your deadlift and you can grow your strength and you can grow your muscle mass as well. So I'm going to move straight into the first line, which is basically walking up to the bar and setting yourself up for a good lift. So part 1 is walking up to the bar and setting yourself up for a good lift, and it looks really simple, like this. Now, although walking up to the bar and standing still looks like a super simple part of the lift, it's actually really important to get that right, and it's also the part of the lift where you run through the thought process for the rest of the lift to come. There's a very specific way that I use, that I got from the book How to Become a Supple Leopard from Kelly Starrett, and I use this to brace my core, get my shoulders ready, and to set myself up for a good lift. I'm going to talk you through that now. So the first one is get to the bar. You want to get your feet under the bar so that your shins are maybe an inch or 2 away. Feet are hip width apart, toes facing forward. And then from here, you want to imagine you're going to turn your toes outwards, but without moving your feet. So if I do that here, we're going to be standing like this. We're going to imagine that we want to do that, but our feet are not going to move. So we get that external rotation through the legs into the hips. After that, we squeeze the glutes to push the hips forward, and that brings your whole lower body into alignment. You then brace the core, push your shoulders down, and imagine that you're at the top of the deadlift, holding a heavy bar, squeezing your shoulder blades together and pushing your shoulders down into your armpits. Okay, I'm going to show you that one more time. Toes and feet under the bar, feet hip width apart, facing forward, external rotation through the legs, squeeze the glutes to push the hips in, brace the core, and arms go up here. And this is you ready to go down, to grab the bar, to set up for a good lift. So, last time we looked at just the setup for the deadlift in terms of just literally standing at the bar and getting your feet, hips and shoulders all aligned and bracing the core. Right now we're going to actually look at getting down to the bar in the best way possible that's going to allow the best setup for the actual lift. Okay? It's going to involve a hip hinge and a knee bend whilst maintaining a neutral spine. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you, and I'm going to talk through the different aspects of that part of the movement, what you need to look out for. Okay? So remember the setup from the last video. Feet forward, external rotation, squeeze the glutes, hips forward, core nice and tight, flare the lats. Okay? So from here we're going to hinge backwards with the hips, like this, and then bend the knees down to get to the bar. So this is all about the hip hinge, which is the fundamental movement for the deadlift. That's the actual movement we're training. We're doing it in reverse to get down to the bar so that we can do it going forward when we actually lift. So I'm going to demonstrate that again, this time without talking, if I can manage that. So that's the ideal way to get down to the bar ready to set up for the lift, regardless of how heavy you're going to lift. And it's made up of 2 main portions, which is the initial hip hinge and then the knee bend afterwards. I'm going to talk you through that nice and slowly. So once we've set up at the bar, we're going to start to pull the hips backwards whilst maintaining a neutral spine and a nice flat torso. We're going to get into the point where we feel a nice stretch down the hamstrings here. So at this point, you're not going to get much further down unless you do the wrong thing, which is reach forward, okay? You don't want to do that because you lose all of your alignment in your spine, and then it's very hard to get it back. So instead of reaching for the bar with the torso, we just use the knees to create a bit more downward motion as we lower ourselves down towards the bar. So it's the hips first, and then when you reach that locking point where you've got the stretch on the hamstrings, it's the knees to finish off that downward part of the movement. You can afford to be a bit more relaxed than that. But you're still looking for that sequence of movement through the hips and knees whilst always maintaining that flat torso and keeping as much of that initial setup position as you can from when you approach the bar. Okay, so we've just looked at lowering down to the bar, and this can be a difficult part of the movement to master. So here I'm going to give you 3 or 4 little troubleshooting tips to help you teach yourself the movement so that you can lift safely and lift loads. So the first one is just practicing moving the hips back whilst maintaining a neutral spine, i.e. good posture. So I've got Pete here to help me demonstrate that first little troubleshooting tip with the broomstick. So first, Pete's going to hold the broomstick behind himself, running down the length of his spine. You'll notice that the hand is within the little neck curve there and in the small curve of the lower back here. And there's 3 points of contact. Just turn that way a little bit. That's it, good. So when you're practicing this movement, you want to have contact with the back of your head, the middle of your shoulders, and just at the top of your tailbone right here, okay? And when throughout this movement, you need to make sure you maintain those 3 points of contact. Okay, Pete, face back to the bar. So now what you're going to do is practice moving those hips backwards whilst maintaining a neutral spine and letting the torso and the chest dip over as the hips go back. So off we go, Pete. Good. And back up. And do it as slowly as you can. So the tip, or the trick with all of these drills is to do them nice and slowly so you can feel where they start to go wrong and then adjust and fix it. Good, pause there. So quite a common one is for this part of the stick here to start coming away from the back, which means you're losing alignment down the low back area. So just keep a close eye on that one. So come back up, Pete, and then do one wrong for me, please. There, okay, pause there. So now we've got a big gap here, and basically what that means is instead of using your hips to pull backwards, you've just started leaning forward from that back region instead, okay? So just demonstrate one more good one for me, Pete. And back up. Thanks, man.
No problem.
Wicked.
Shall pass.
Okay, so this is Pete again. Comes in handy for other things than just providing wisdom at the end of videos. We've looked at the broomstick drill for posture and learning how to move the hips backwards whilst maintaining a neutral spine. This is another troubleshooting drill that if you can't quite figure out how to move your actual hips, this is going to teach you how to do that. This is going to get you to, this is going to stop you just doing this, which is not the same as doing this, okay? So you stand a couple of inches in front of the wall. You're going to put your hands here and kind of push into your hips like this, and then you're literally going to push your hips backwards until your ass touches the wall. Imagine that shot then. So you're going to push your hips backwards till your bum touches the wall, whilst maintaining that neutral spine like you practiced with the previous drill. Once you find this nice and easy, straighten up. Take a small shuffle forwards and do it again. Keep going. Not too far. So what Pete's done here is he's raced forward too quickly, gone a little too far, so when that happens, just take a step back and start again. Best thing to do is each time you shuffle forward slightly, just repeat 5 or 6 reps so it feels natural, and then take a small shuffle forward. Again, remembering to move nice and slowly. Okay, take a little shuffle forward now. Good. Practice. Good. Can I enhance? Yeah. Yeah. Good. Go again. Pause at that back position, so all the way back, all the way back, all the way back. Good. So in this position, the spine still needs to be aligned. You should feel a good stretch on your hamstrings down here, okay? And all of your weight should be on your heels, but you should be supporting your own weight, not leaning against the wall, okay? So come back up. Now do one of those ones wrong, like I showed you just now. This is what not to do. So we're not looking to just hinge a little bit and then fall backwards. We're looking to maintain control throughout the movement. So demonstrate that again, Pete.
Bad one.
No, good one. Down. Oh no, that was a bad one. Slow, 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 slow. Good. So again, I want to pause it. Sorry. Neutral spine, hamstring stretch, weight on the heels, supporting your own load. And up. Good, that'll do. Awesome. So that's the wall drill, or the wall hinge, or bum to the wall, if you want to use a different phrase. And that is the second in the kind of troubleshooting tips that you can use to develop a fucking great movement technique for deadlift. So with this drill, the aim of this drill is to be able to get yourself to the height of the bar, or if you can't, work out the height of the bar that you need to be able to reach the bar with good posture. So let me demonstrate exactly what I mean. So in this instance, the broomstick is obviously imitating the bar, and we're going to hold as if we're at the top of the deadlift, still staying fairly relaxed, but using that alignment drill to make sure we are in the right kind of position. From here, you're going to utilise what you've learned from the previous 2 drills. You're going to pull the hips back, let the knees bend, until you get to the point where you could reach the bar. And back up. Now, that's ideally the level you're going to get to, but when you first try the drill, it's probably going to look more like this. You're going to get back to that hamstring stretch and a little bit of knees, and then you're going to feel stuck. The temptation here is going to be to lose alignment through your spine and do that. That is without doubt the biggest mistake I see on the deadlift setup for everyone. So it's well worth practicing this drill to eliminate that for good. So be patient. Hips go back, knees bend, spine stays aligned, weight stays on the heels, and back up. And back up. And back up. You're going to keep doing that until you reach the height of the bar, or you're going to need to raise the bar up. Now there's nothing wrong with raising the height of the bar to enable you to lift safely. Okay, you will get most, if not all, of the benefit of the lift, but you'll be taking away the danger of not lifting correctly. Because there's plates on the bar, and this stick is a bit too wide, we just use the thumbs, like this. So we're going to slide the thumbs down the leg, okay? Keeping the arms straight, shoulders back. So I'll face this way just so you can see. Here, exact same drill, and down. And as you can see, that bar's a lot easier to reach. So for guys like us, 30 plus, maybe even early 40s, a bit beaten up by life or a bit stiff from sitting behind a desk or driving all day or whatever it is you do, this is more than likely going to be a thing that you're going to need to do at least to begin with, unless you're already pretty experienced with the deadlift. Then in that case, these drills are just going to help make your lifting even better. Next time, we'll talk about what we do when we finally get our hands on the bar in the bottom position. Peace out.